Bitcoin bulls going wild, as expected. If there was going to be a confusion or a complete calamity post-election, which we now have, or the possibilities of a socialism coming on in spirit and in form from a Joe Biden presidency, which is a distinct possibility despite attempts to correct voter fraud. But getting and sticking just to the markets, we're at 15K right now. It is Thursday, November 5th at lunchtime EST, and it's going to keep climbing. Some are saying since it's broken the 14.9 mark, thinking it might go up now to a psychological 17 or so. It's been a couple of years since it got up to 20K. Real question is, do you want to take some profits right now and keep the rest of it in? But there's more of this to follow, certainly, as we are not going to know who's technically going to win the election for days now, or probably for weeks. But that type of confusion is supposed to work in Bitcoin's favor, being digital gold, to be a leverage, to be a hedge, just like regular gold is in times of uncertainty, or when you have a tax and spend socialist presidential possibility, or even a likelihood with the Democrats, who are going to take a already gutted and destroyed economy and just beat it up down even further with lockdowns that they've promised, mask wearing, more draconian measures, and increased taxes across the board. Part of their platform, don't blame me, higher personal income tax, doubling of the corporate income tax, that's the real bad one. And then even wanting to attack the stock market some more by trying to increase tax rates on capital gains. That's what this is really about. Not so much about the uncertainty. That does add to it. But this was destined to happen, in my opinion, if we were going to start leaning towards Marxism and socialism, which is what we're straight up clearly being done, including through big tech, and who are actually fascist. But this is what we're looking at, so let's get into a little more details here. BTC climbs $1,000 in one day. What an unbelievably hectic day for Bitcoin, which just 24 hours ago traded below 14K. The last time BTC saw 15 was in early January 2018, almost 3 years ago. And then it was all downhill from there, and then flattened out until things started to change earlier this year. But we've got things changing big time. We've got digital coins coming in through central banks, number one. Number two, we have PayPal. That was big news a couple of weeks ago, accepting and going to be using Bitcoin on their platform with their tens of millions of consumers and users of their accounts throughout the entire world. Then add this into a high tax probability, although at least an attempt with a Republican Senate, that's going to put the brakes on that and keep a little bit of normalcy, as opposed to straight up hardcore Marxism, which would totally devastate the markets and our economy even further than the pandemic already has. But bottom line is, this is what one of the main points, there's three main points and benefits to Bitcoin. There's an ideological one in terms of freedom, but another reality one is it is digital gold, and that's why this is the primary reason why this is being pumped up here and being exploded during this week. We've got uncertainty, and we have a possibility of voter fraud, keeping President Trump from a second election. But this is good news. This is the point. Like I said, this is one of the three major points of Bitcoin, is we want it to be that hedge, that opposite, that insurance spot for where we need to be able to park our money if we're going to come out of the markets, and or when the dollar crashes and inflation, which is supposed to be and is expected to happen with the amount of QE that's going on. But anyone who knows the background of QE and how it works with the primary dealers, it doesn't necessarily work that way. But that's a story for another time. Let's give some credit to Plan B here. I like this model that picked up top in late 17 and most importantly bottom in early 19. We are now in what I call the hodler's sweet spot. Get paid to sit. I got myself some additional ones around, gosh, it was around 4K. I forgot how many months that is, but those babies are just sitting there. The only things you want to think, the only question at this point is, do you take some profit? Is it time to take some profit? 20%, 10%, maybe 30%. Depends on, I guess, what your goals are. Most Bitcoiners are just in it for the long haul.